The places that I paint tend to depict a sort of North American purgatory, and it's a little existential sliver that we spend most of our lives in, thinking of where we're going to be or where we were before. These places are built almost like an architectural instantiation of that state of mind. These sort of nowhere places are all over the United States. And I both like and dislike the little chill that I get inside a Costco or a grocery store where I know I could be in New Jersey or Arizona or Washington or anywhere. And I think that that kind of anonymity of being like nobody, being nowhere is one of the sort of horrors of the modern world. But I think it's one of those things that you can only have an idea about in the abstract. I work in sketchbooks pretty constantly. That's really important to me, to really sort through my impressions in a visual way, to think things through visually. And drawing is the most important way for me of thinking things through. There was something about what I saw that made me want to paint it. And am I getting that across as best I can? Am I making it as resonant as I can? And the only way I know really how to make sure I'm doing that is to start drawing and get it out of my head. Being from Albuquerque actually factors into the way that I make the paintings. There's about a 2,000-foot variance in altitude. You're about a mile above sea level, and the air is very dry. So you can see whole weather fronts rolling across the landscape. So you're always aware that you're about this big. And that makes sense to me as a worldview and manifests itself in the way that I scale the figures to the painting. Materials are really important to me. The quality of paint makes such a huge difference because the more pigment it has in it, the less physical paint you have to use to get the saturation to a certain point. I also like to paint on materials I know they're going to be permanent. The painting on the easel is on dye-bond aluminum. A lot of the time we'll paint on polyester stretched over panel. And I like the polyester because it's more inert than canvas or linen, so it doesn't expand and contract. Color is emotionally engaging. Putting out a little dot of cadmium red on the palette, I get very excited. I like sort of geeking out about this stuff. Sometimes people will say that the paintings look like a photograph, and they'll usually mean it as a compliment, but I take a lot of pains to take out things that photography does. Light is really great subject matter for painting, and really something I spend a lot of time on working out in the paintings. All the parts of the painting have to agree to convey a sense of light. It's like a crime where all the alibis have to match up or you don't get away with it. These paintings are really built almost like one-frame movies. I basically have to sort of build a set, light it, cast it, put the figures where I want them, because I want the figures to help guide you through the space. Reading is a way of ascribing meaning that's less open-ended and interesting to me than the way things look, which is also why I muffle the text on the paintings a lot. Painting gives you these sort of sensations, and for me the sensations are largely visual. The light on these big empty stretches, rows of boxes and concrete. I want to invite you into the painting and keep you there as long as I can. So I want to make these spaces sort of like how I experience them. I like these places to be drawn from the sort of middle ground of common experience. If you go too high or too low, you play into people's fantasy lives, which is narrative poison to me. If I paint USA Gas, the painting has a really good chance of being more of an experience you have when you're there. The subject matter is in service of the painting and not the other way around. I don't mean it to be entirely a critique either. I'm American, so I'm a little bit embarrassed as an American about Costco, but I'm into Costco. I like it. And if I'm not both a little bit in awe of the place and a little bit ashamed of the place, then I don't stay engaged in a way that I would be interested long enough to do something like make a painting. I'm not trying to praise these places, and I'm not trying to condemn them. I'm trying to convey what it is about the experience of these places that fascinates me. It is a mix of awe and shame and these big deep spaces. It's sort of like a desert there. It's like the inside of a Costco is like a little mini desert. So maybe I just feel at home there.